It's 9:44 p.m. and Marco is alone in his flooring showroom, running a thumb over a merchant statement he has avoided for 6 months. The sales looked fine. The bank deposits looked smaller. Somewhere between the card swipe and his checking account, margin was quietly leaking out. Marco is an anti-card. His customers tap, dip, and pay invoices.
Convenience still deserves a receipt.
The Louis Fed says U.S. banks collected nearly $66 billion in interchange, or swipe, fees in 2025, up from 2024. For Marco, that giant number showed up as tiny lines: assessment, authorization, network batch, PCC, chargeback, non-qualified, and monthly minimum. His card sales were around $50,000 a month, at an effective rate near 3%. That was rent, sized money leaving before payroll. First move, calculate your effective rate. Total processing fees divided by total card sales. Not the advertised rate, the real one. Pull your last 3 processor statements. Circle total fees, total card volume, key transactions, chargebacks, debit volume, and anything labeled non-qualified. Marco's statement wasn't one bill. It was a parts drawer. Each little fee had a job, and some were doing expensive overtime. Cards dominate checkout. The same Louis Fed summary says credit cards represented 35% of consumer payments in 2024, and debit cards 30%. That dominance matters because you probably cannot just say cash only. Customers hear that as friction, not financial discipline.
Don't start by fighting the customer. Start by finding the avoidable costs hiding inside the payment setup you already use.
Make 3 columns: customer behavior, processor pricing, and operator mistakes. Most savings tend to come from the second and third columns. Visa explains that processing costs can include interchange, network assessments, and processor fees, with rates varying by card and transaction details. Interchange is usually the base cost. Assessments are network charges. Processor markup is the part you may have more room to question. Your processor's markup may be negotiable. Interchange usually isn't. Knowing the difference keeps you from arguing with the wrong person. Ask for a statement review in plain English. If the rep cannot explain each fee, consider getting a second processor quote. Marco divided total fees by total card volume. The result was 2.96%. Not outrageous, but high enough to deserve a flashlight. For covered debit issuers, Regulation IA caps interchange at 0.21 plus 45% of transaction value, plus a possible fraud adjustment. Debit gets sneaky because routing matters. The same customer card may cost differently depending on network routing and processor configuration. One approach is asking whether debit routing is optimized for your ticket size and whether PIN debit is available without slowing checkout. Use this wording: does my account route eligible debit transactions across lower cost networks, and can you show me the monthly evidence? The Louis Fed reported average debit interchange across networks at $0 per transaction in 2024, or 0% of average value. On small tickets, fixed cents matter. On large invoices, percentage fees hurt more. Your mix determines which leak deserves attention first. The goal isn't to turn checkout into a lecture. The goal is to route cleanly, capture properly, and price with eyes open. Train the counter team to use chip or tap when the card is present. Swiping or keying can push transactions into higher categories. Marco found a surprise. Installers were taking deposits over the phone and keying cards later, even when customers were standing in the showroom. Visa notes interchange rates can vary by transaction type, card product, merchant category, and how the transaction is processed. If deposits come in person, consider collecting them in person. If they happen remotely, use secure invoice links instead of manual keying. Update the script. We can send a secure payment link now, or you can tap your card before leaving today. Next came downgrades. That's processor language for transactions that failed to qualify for the expected rate because something about the data was off. Ask for a downgrade report. It may show missing address data, delayed settlement, wrong category coding, or preventable keyed entries. Audit your customer descriptors too. If customers do not recognize the charge, disputes may rise even when the sale was legitimate. Interchange fees represented about 11% of U.S. banks' non-interest income in 2025, according to the state Louis Fed analysis. That tells us payments are not a rounding error. For banks, they are income. For you, they are cost of access. Now look at pricing model. Flat rate feels simple. Interchange plus feels messy. Either may work, depending on volume, tickets, and card mix. Send one real statement to 2 processors and ask for a side-by-side estimate using your actual mix, not a sales fancy. Then Marco found the crumbs: monthly minimums, old terminal insurance, batch fees, statement fees, and a compliance charge nobody remembered approving. Small monthly fees may be legitimate, but if you cannot name the service, consider asking to remove it or explain it. Create a fee list with 3 labels: keep, question, cancel. Do it before the call while you are calm. Chargebacks were the next leak. Marco had only 4 last quarter, but each one carried fees, staff time, and a knot in his stomach. Chargeback prevention is mostly boring operations, clear receipts, recognizable billing names, signed work orders, delivery proof, and fast customer replies. For service work, take a completion photo, save approval messages, and attach the work order to the invoice before payment. Refunds deserve a process too. A messy refund can become a dispute, and disputes tend to cost more than a clean reversal. Settling batches daily may help avoid downgrades. Waiting several days can sometimes change the category and add cost. Assign one person to check settlement every Tuesday morning. If that person is you, make it a recurring 15-minute habit. This is where payment costs meet cash flow. Fees hit before you notice, while payroll, rent, and inventory wait in full. Premium rewards cards can cost more to accept. Customers love points. Merchants often pay part of that party. Don't make customers feel guilty. Build card cost into pricing where appropriate, then compete on service, speed, reliability, and trust. Review your menu, rate sheet, or estimate template quarterly. If card costs rise, pricing may need a small, transparent adjustment. Surcharging and cash discounts sound tempting, but rules vary by state, network, card type, and how the offer is presented. Before adding card fees or discounts, consult counsel, your processor, and your state rules. One approach in one state may fail elsewhere. If you test a cash discount, keep it simple at checkout. Confusion creates complaints, and complaints can erase the savings. Louis Fed puts it plainly: the merchant receives less than the sale price because transaction fees are paid along the way. Marco stopped seeing the statement as punishment. He started seeing it as a map of where his margin had been wandering. When you call the processor, stay boring and specific. Emotion makes the call longer. Numbers make it useful. Say, I'm reviewing avoidable processing costs. Please explain my effective rate, debit routing, downgrade volume, chargeback fees, and processor markup. The processor rep did not wave a wand, but she did find old pricing, preventable keyed volume, and a terminal fee from 2019. Ask whether interchange, plus pricing, updated hardware, or a different plan may fit your current volume better than your old setup. Get promised changes in writing, then verify them on the next statement. A lower quote is not savings until it clears. And Marco's turning point wasn't a heroic negotiation. It was a quiet checklist, a patient call, and a few habits changed at checkout. For a business doing $600,000 in card sales, a 2.8% effective rate equals $1,600 before extra fees and chargebacks. Recovering even a small slice may help fund inventory, time help, or a better emergency cushion. Results vary by business. Here is the 30-day plan. Week 1, calculate effective rate. Week 2, identify leaks. Week 3, call processors. Week 4, verify. Day 1, gather statements. Day 2, separate card, present, keyed, online, debit, credit, premium, and chargeback activity. Day 3, ask about debit routing and downgrades. Day 4, list monthly fees and question every mystery charge. Day 5, review chargeback procedures. Day 6, compare pricing models. Day 7, decide what to change first. Then repeat monthly. Payment costs move. Your processor agreement, customer mix, and sales channels should not run on autopilot. If this helps you protect a few basis points, share it with another owner, and subscribe if you want more practical margin signals. Marco did not eliminate card fees. Most small businesses won't. But he reduced the fees he could control and stopped ignoring the rest. The bigger lesson is simple. Margin leaks rarely announce themselves. They hide in normal systems until an owner decides to look closer. This content is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor or business consultant before making significant financial decisions. Hold a statement, not to blame yourself, to buy back a little control from a cost that has been hiding in plain sight. Remember, this content is for informational purposes only and is not financial advice.